Welcome, everyone, to Unveiling, the podcast. My name is Jordan Bain. I'm a certified Senior Guide, Kabbalah instructor, third step ritual master, and more in the Modern Mystery School. My guest tonight is a good colleague and friend of mine, Erin Wallace from Northern California. And I've known Erin now for over 11 years, actually, which is kind of wild. She oversees the leadership for Northern California and actually for all of California in the Modern Mystery School. She's also a Senior Guide, also a Kabbalah instructor, third step ritual master, and all the same stuff that I am, and that we both do a lot of the same things here. So her mission is to support the progression of not only the God human, us as human beings, what the mystery school would call the Adam Kadmon, and also all living things, as well as the magical beings like the elementals that we teach about in the Modern Mystery School. She is here to support the shift into Shambhala, or peace on earth, world peace. So Erin, welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jordan.
Yeah, my pleasure. I love the background. We've got like the red and the blue going on in our backgrounds, and we alternated our shirt colors. We did that without even trying tonight.
We're the Wonder Twins.
Amazing. So tell me just a little bit more about yourself, because this episode is all about being ourselves. And I would love to hear from you about, one of the things that I think most people can relate to is like who we were before we found the mystery school work. Because there's like life before the mystery school and initiation, then there's life after. So much changes with that, with the path of initiation. It's like this, it's like a different, much more open, much more authentic way of life. So who are you prior to finding the school, and what was your journey into the mystery school? What was that like for you?
Okay. Yeah. As far as I can remember, around 12, I looked around and I realized that the world was not the way I wanted it to be. I didn't really consent to how animals were treated, how the environment was treated. And so I was very shocked when I finally kind of could look around. And so I became what I thought was part of the solution, which was being an activist, but, it was very misguided and probably wasted a lot of time. There's a lot of anger involved. So I did that for a while. And then I decided, okay, I need to heal myself. And so I was hungry, like Pac-Man. And I was trying to just eat whatever I could get. So I did a lot of new age stuff. And it got me to the next step, to the next step, to the next step, but it didn't change me. And I kept on, trying something and then leaving it right away, getting like a little piece of gold and running out, and then getting another little piece of gold. And then I went and did body work in Australia, heller work. It's like rolfing. And finally got into my body because I had been dissociating quite a bit.
You became a practitioner.
Yeah, but I had to become a practitioner. You really have to face yourself. It was like a 1.5 year long program. There's 14 people in it, and there's no escape from yourself. The other people were me, but I didn't like me. And so I was constantly bombarded with myself, and I couldn't get away. I'm like, I paid extra, got my own room, but it just didn't work. And so I finally got into my body, and I was like, looked around in my body and thought, okay, I have some work to do. And I went back home from Australia, was jet lagged, found a holistic fair, got my palm read. The woman read my palm, and she says, you have a lot of gifts, come to my meeting. And at the meeting, it was about the 22-strand DNA activation, which is now called the life activation that we do in the school. But rewind to when I was 18, my mom took me to a psychic in Hawaii who told me I was going to help wake people up by activating their DNA, and then eventually do large groups of teachings. And I was like, I've never heard of that before, but I was constantly looking for it when I did all the new age stuff. And so when the guy did this talk, I was like, where do I go to learn how to do that? And he, no one ever does that. Usually it's like you do the empower thyself, but I already knew. I had just gotten out of this program. I was going to become a hellwork practitioner, but I'm like, I don't need to look this up online. I 100% in my heart know this is my next step. Where is it? How do I get there? He's like, this is in 2004, November. He's like, it's going to be in August in Utah. And I'm like, I'm there. And there's no one in the area. So he just taught me the prerequisites, like one-on-one. He was like staring at me, like with like geometry shapes in front of me and like his face behind them. And so then I went to the mystery school and I cried. Like The second I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've waited for my whole life. Actually, when he activated me with a DNA, with the life activation, and he gave me like a very kind of like mom and pop flyer with maybe even like a hair like photographed, it was just a messy flyer for the Adept program, which is now Empower Thyself. And I felt like I was in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, because it says initiation into the universal brotherhood and sisterhood of light. And I thought I'd already been working with them. And I thought, I'm pissed. I used to run on anger a lot. I'm pissed that I didn't find this earlier. Like, that's my initial reaction. Like, I was 30 at the time. I'm like, where was this? And then I realized I had to do all this stuff to clear myself. And I went, cried, and then I heard about the Ritual Master Program, and they're like, you have to be kind of unusual to do it. I'm like, that's me.
Kind of unusual.
It was back in the day. You had to like fax your photo in at the, like, I went to the post office and I was like looking this way, It was like, no, I'm like, good enough, sending it in. And then I became a mystery school person, and I haven't looked back. I've been in it for 15 years. It's been like, and believe me, I would leave. I left so many things as soon as it got, not pure or whatever. The door would not hit me on the way out. It was like I was out there like Speedy Gonzalez. Like, so I've been enrolling myself in this. So I really like it.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. I mean, there's so many aspects to mystery school and to what we do as initiates. And it's fascinating to me, like, what brings people forward and how it's always so much about our story. It's so unique for each person, like how we get here. So I don't think I even knew half that stuff that you just shared. So,
and I'm holding back. I'm holding back. I mean,
was there anything else that if you weren't holding back, that you'd want to share about that? Like,
I just know that there's just so much we want to cover, but like the reason why I like the mystery school, I mean, which I think we're going to cover later, but is, okay, so here I was an activist, seriously, at lunch in high school, putting PETA things on people's lunch tables, like, and like crying because we had to dissect things, like having little protests everywhere I went, and so I was mad, I wanted to change the world. I'm like, I'm not part of this. And so what I like about the mystery school is that you're actually helping somebody change from within. Like, you're actually changing all these problems that I saw so many things wrong with the world, of course, this, I don't like that. And that's just a waste of energy. That's like, it's symptoms. It's symptoms to the one problem. And the one problem is that we don't know who we are. And so if we don't know who we are, and we are powerful God beings that create by our thoughts. And so most of the pollution, most of the problems are actually from here, because we're God. And so if we change that, then soon, like with the Shambhala mission that you just mentioned that I'm on, that we both are on, it will be instant. Like, as soon as people are like, okay, I'm God, you are God. Oh my gosh, everything's God, or I love everything. Then you're going to just, it will change very holographically quickly, like quantum physics proves, it's going to be just, so that's why I like the mystery school. It's very efficient, and it's not wasting my time, because I've came here with a mission. Like, I came here revved up. And it doesn't waste the people that come in for sessions time, because it's been proven. So like, I actually do value my time. Like, I don't even want to do a session if it's not going to work for somebody. I would never. Why? I have stuff to accomplish, and so mystery school is proven. Like, they've already proven it, and it doesn't, you don't have to believe it for it to even work. Like, I've had people come in, they drag their partners in, the partner's like rolling their eyes, not drag, but person comes in, better.
I'm doing this for my wife or my husband or my whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. It's like, but they're still coming in, and so, but they're literally like rolling their eyes, and then I see them later, and they're different. They're different. It works. So. Totally,
it really does work, and it's so funny. There's so many things and similarities between us as well. Like, one of the things that really solidified my spiritual path for me was doing activism in college, and putting like several years into running the activist organization at my college for environmental activism, and feeling like after years of work, like we had accomplished nothing.
Totally.
Like nothing had really been done. The world wasn't actually a better place for all the good intentions and all the petitions signed and all the chemical factories that we had tried to stop. And it was just like, okay, well, if the pollution is going to keep going on, what's the source of that pollution, like you're talking about? And the pollution really is in the human mind. It's not just in the waterways, of the Hudson River near where I was going to school. It's like, we've got a problem much deeper than toxic factories. And sorry, go ahead.
No, I totally agree. Like, I'm just like, I just feel you. I'm like, oh my gosh, because it's so depressing. Like, I found that out when I was 16. Like, I was like, we just printed all this stuff on paper. Like, we're trying to, I know paper's fine, but we printed all this stuff. We had all these meetings. And what do? You just piss off the people who aren't agreeing with you. They're just like, oh, crazy, annoying activist.
Right.
The people who are with you are already with you. So, okay, cool. You're at neutral. And then other people are kind of like, ugh, like not that into it. So it doesn't do anything. So,
right.
but we all mean well. I mean, you just get misguided. And so you want to find a funnel that's going to help your actual time on earth be worthwhile. Like if you really do feel like you have a mission,
right,
you want to do something that's going to actually work.
And part of the problem with that, with trying to change, whether someone's doing it through like activism or whether someone's doing it through being in government and trying to set policies, is that pretty much everyone who I've ever met, like up close and personal at like a state level of government doing advocacy in Massachusetts, like has their heart really in the right place. But then how is it that we all believe that something different is the right way? We all have like a different belief system about like, well, what would be good for XYZ problem? We deal with this sometimes in Massachusetts. Like there's just been different bills that would affect like energy workers, for example, in Massachusetts that we've had to do advocacy around. And it's like everyone has a different opinion about what would be, should we regulate energy work? Should we not regulate energy work? Like, are energy workers this kind of problem? Are they not a problem? What even is energy work? Why are we talking about this right now? Like, and just, years worth of that sort of thing. And it's like, we don't get involved in it except to the point that we would need to, just to protect what we're doing as energy workers. But it just always shows me anytime I interact with those systems, how messed up the human mind gets with all these different belief systems and opinions about like, well, I think I have the right answer for how this thing should go or how that thing should be. And it's like in the mystery school, we don't need to have any right answers. We just expose people to the light. And then they make better decisions, whatever a better decision means for them, because your good decisions, and this is why we're talking about being yourself tonight. It's like your good decisions are your decisions, not mine. Like we were talking before the show and you were just like, yeah, I just want to express myself. And I'm like, absolutely, like whatever you want to share, because I don't really have an opinion if that's right or wrong. But the average person maybe does have an opinion about whether what you're about to say is right or wrong. And that's something that if we keep in that vein of just chugging along with like the right opinions all the time, we're never going to have world peace.
It's just a way. I don't like to waste time. I mean, to me, all that sounded like a bunch of meetings and what do you accomplish?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it can be very frustrating to try and make change that way. And then to really realize that we'll never make change that way is a huge beginning of awakening for people.
Yeah, it can be a dark night of soul. Like, when you and I'm sure when you found out that all your activism really didn't accomplish anything, that's a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, but you accomplished getting that realization.
Exactly. I learned what didn't work.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Give you some time,
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on and talk a little bit about the tools of the mystery school. How do the mystery school tools help you be yourself? You specifically. Just share whatever's in your heart about that.
Well, they help you so that you are more in the moment. A lot of the things that I've uncovered like I was saying, when I was doing the Hella Work Body Work in Australia, and I had 14 people there that mirrored how I felt about myself, I did not feel comfortable with myself. That shows when you're not comfortable with other people, you're not comfortable with yourself. And so why wasn't I? Okay, well, I had some masks, I had some wounds, and I was really uncomfortable. And so the mystery school tools have helped me to heal those wounds and start taking off masks And so like I used to have a mask where I was just always happy. Like it just didn't change.
Right. That looks painful.
Yeah, I had, it was like a survival mechanism, right? Because I just felt like I was such an empath as a child, and I could feel everybody, and I was like, oh gosh,
Right.
I don't want to be another person, shifting the energy. But so yeah, just helping and releasing wounds, and discovering like how, in some situations I was like this. No, but that was based on a past thing that had happened in the past, or I wasn't in the present. I was like basically living from things that had happened in the past, thinking that they were still happening. And so with the light from the school,
which is what we all do.
Yeah. With the light from the school, I started to see it. I was like, oh, wait, that's not current. That person's actually not trying to do anything to me. I'm just putting a template of 7th grade on top of them.
Right.
And because I put the template, I'm the goddess of my world. You're the god of your world. My goddess world had rules that this is what it's going to look like because of wounds that I had. But I don't have to have that. Oh, I don't want that anymore. Like kind of like one of those iPad screens, you can just shift it. And then now I'm here, and then other people don't have to fit in. So if you have certain beliefs about the world or wounds, people have to fit into it. They're like, you're just like, I'm going to get abandoned. I get abandoned, I get ignored or whatever. Well, somebody's definitely going to have to fill into that void and ignore you or abandon you. It's like what you're asking for. Yeah. And it's sad because we don't want that. And so that's why I love the mystery schools, because I like finding those wounds. I mean, it's kind of painful, and sometimes you don't want to see it and it hurts, and it's like, oh, but once you see it and you face it, you're like, okay, well, I actually have been living like I'm still in 7th grade. I haven't updated myself. Well, do I want to do that? No. Okay. I'm not going to do it anymore. And then you're current. Like now I see you for who you are, or like a teacher. Like sometimes I used to project things onto teachers or something like that. Not see them for who they are. Or they're my 3rd grade teacher. No, they're a really beautiful person who's trying to help me. Like, so stuff like that. I mean, it's myriads of things that have helped, but I'm just flowing for what the energy.
Yeah. So having enough light to be able to, saying that a different way, like having enough light to just see what's happening. What's really happening in your inner world, how that's creating whatever, misaligned outer reality you might see. And then do I want to keep doing it? Creating an option.
Yeah, you can choose. You could choose to keep doing it. But why would you want to? And then you that's what the mystery school process basically is. Find something that's outdated, expand yourself into more and more and more and more and more of who you are. Find something that's outdated, decide if you want to keep it or not. Your choice. I mean, if you are not ready to let go of that, you're like, a lot of us are comfortable in discomfort. Like we only know like trauma. And so like anything joyous might feel weird to you. You might not even, but it's good. It's better to just take the little leap and try something new, but you can either choose it or not, and choose to keep it or not. Then you adjust to a new reality that's bigger. Right. Absolutely. I used to not even want to I would never want to do an interview back then. I didn't even like myself. Like I didn't want to hear myself speak. Now I could be anywhere. Like I could be in front of 50 people. I could be in a room of rooming with 5 people. I'm fine with myself. So I don't have any problem with anybody else, Right. So it's good. It makes you free. Absolutely. I mean, I remember back when someone who both of us studied with, Verla Wade, who's been on the show several times, said to me when she first, I hope she doesn't mind me telling this story, but it's hilarious. And she's told it in public in front of hundreds of people. So I don't think she minds it being shared. That when she first found the mystery school and she went to what we now call Healers Academy for the first time, she realized she didn't really like most of the people there. And then she kept coming back every year for more of the training, like she did the Ritual Master program and the guide program. And she realized by her 3rd year back at programs, she really liked everyone there. And she thought that they had become much nicer people. And then she realized that the common denominator was herself. And she was like, oh, that's been me the whole time. Actually, maybe I wasn't really liking myself. Exactly. And through this work over just a period of a few years,
she had gone from thinking these other people maybe have a problem to realizing, oh, maybe I have something I want to heal, to actually I kind of like myself and them.
It's miraculous. I mean, that's a good example. You have the power. You have the power to really change your reality around you. It's fun. I mean, it's totally, everything's a reflection of your inner world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to say, and it's probably hard to believe, but if you do
it's even harder to change.
Yeah, if you do, it takes a while.
Yeah.
We are very close. You've seen. I mean, I remember I hadn't even done the inner child work at one. Some of the deep inner child work when we were hanging out at one point, right. And that's the big part, is the inner child work. And I'm still working on it. I still have another layer that I need to really explore on that. How you feel about how you treat yourself is how everybody else is going to treat you. Or they might treat you a little differently, maybe not the way you might want, but you won't actually care if you're healed inside.
Right. It's not personal. It's not about you anyways. So why would we?
Water off the duck's back.
Totally. So because we're already talking, even without saying the name, we're already talking about Kabbalah here, because one of the main ways that we do that kind of revealing, healing, transformational work with ourselves in the mystery school is Kabbalah. So both you and I set out to become Kabbalah teachers like 7 to 10 years ago now, and finally became Kabbalah teachers last year. So how does Kabbalah fit into all of this? Just let's talk about that. Whatever comes to mind for you. How does Kabbalah fit in with being yourself, this kind of process of change?
Oh, it's so transformative. It's basically, I think most of your viewers know about Empower Thyself, which is the first step in the initiation, where you get rituals where you can create a little kit of light, a little safety of light around you, so that you can start healing without the bombardment of the outside world. So you do that, and then you find out about the negative ego in that, which is like the most important thing to understand, because it's what you are going to discover so that you can uncover yourself, basically. Like, you're like a diamond. We're all diamonds. We're all God. We're all equal. But how much stuff is on your diamond? How much dirt? And so when you do Kabbalah, you're cleaning off your diamond. You are, you're really working on the negative ego. So you'll find out in Empower Thyself, okay, there's this thing called the negative ego. It's all the subconscious patterns that you took on through your life, just little wounds that you've picked up. And then you have beliefs about the world. Like, you as a goddess have a veil, and you're seeing through it. And this is the rules of your creation are colored by these wounds. And so you need light. Like we just said, you need a lot of light to be able to see it. So you find that out in a weekend, and that's great. Okay, cool. Well,
what do you do with that?
Next step, it's like, thank God. I'm so glad that you and I are Kabbalah teachers now, because the world actually needs more Kabbalah teachers. We need more people to do this, and there's more apprentices coming through, because really the next step, really logically, is universal Kabbalah, because you're going to take 10 months in a container that's been tried and true for like thousands and thousands of years, and it's an adventure. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it takes you through this alchemical process. And it's very convenient, because me, efficient. I'm not going to waste time. Like, you're going to be in it no matter where you are. Like, you're on public transport. You're in the holographic Kabbalah tree. So the tree is going to show you things that you need to clear. If you really want to start being yourself and not being colored by past experiences, you need to know what that is, just so you can say hello to it. Oh, I don't want that. Some of us, we hold on to it, and that's where it gets a little tough. But if you're ready to let it go, you'll just soar up the tree, and it's just going to be wonderful. And so each sephirah has a color, like a different aspect of what you will want to clear. And so you're in the world, you're at your regular job. Let's say you're just working a corporate job. You're still going to be in the tree of life in the 10 months, no matter what. Like, so you could be working with somebody, you could be at your family gathering, and what you do is you set out to create something you want to create that's been beyond what you've been able to create before. Now the tree is going to hear that. This process is going to hear it, and it's going to be like, okay, I need to clear this artery here to get them to this goal. And so the artery is something within your life that is clogged, that you haven't been able to heal. It's going to show you it in a way that you can finally get. Oh, that's it. And then we have so many tools, and there's toning, there's ritual, there's meditation, there's your Kabbalah instructor, there's community study groups, and you're going to be able to move through it and get to that goal. And like the harder goal you've picked, the more cool stuff you're going to clear. And the stuff you clear turns into light. It's actually the aspects of your godhood getting more power.
Right.
So it's very cool.
Yeah. I was just sharing that this weekend when I was teaching Empower Thyself with a group, and it was like, the things that I used to be really bad at, I'm now really good at.
We'll have to do that with me in technology.
Not your strong suit, but it could become one. But we have to want that, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd have to take that through the tree. You'd have to say, hey, I want to get really good with using technology. And then the tree would show you the way to do that.
Exactly.
But we won't make that change until we value it, until we say, actually, that is what I want. I do. Yeah. I need to change that part of myself. So the tree always takes you at your word. Like you said, like it hears you, it believes you, and it goes there with you right away. It's as soon as you ask for it, it starts working on that thing in your life. And a lot of people, I think, because they've been so disappointed by the experiences of life and not necessarily having everything that they want. I mean, there's so many people who like ask for a certain kind of life. They ask for a certain set of things in life, and they don't necessarily feel like they're getting the things that they asked for. And then they come to the mystery school and they take Kabbalah, and we tell them, no, really, you can have what you ask for. And a lot of people have stopped believing in that I see.
Yeah. There's a lot of doubt. Yeah. There can be a little skepticism, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, how many people have we seen go through it and get completely changed? Like, so you can't even recognize them almost at the end, you know? But yeah, you're right. They have to ask. You have to you have to have the courage to ask for it, you know, and then when you ask, then you're going to get it. So.
Yeah. And you might get it in a way that you don't expect. You might get it in a way that comes 2 years later. You might get it in a way where you have to go on, like you said. I love how you put it in a really positive sense, even though it could be a bunch of dark nights of the soul in between here and there. You're like, there's a bunch of cool stuff. And I'm like, sometimes it's cool stuff. And sometimes it's like your worst nightmare that you wanted to avoid that stands between you and your dreams. Sometimes like our deepest fears are our greatest strengths. And when we want to embody our greatest strengths, like we have to face our deepest fears. But on the other side of those things, again, is the strengths. And there's not really a way to get to the strengths if you don't face the fears. You can't make an end run around it and hope that you're going to get there. And most people kind of would like to gamble with their life and think that it's going to work that way. And then they waste their whole life trying to get to themselves, but avoid themselves at the same time, which honestly, if you think about it, makes no sense.
Yeah. And
you can't get to yourself by avoiding yourself. You have to face yourself and go there with yourself. And Kabbalah is going to be that system that's going to hold you to account. It's going to hold you to accountability on facing yourself. And then all the rewards are yours. You get to, have your cake and eat it too, so to speak, when you actually believe in yourself and you take those goals through the tree of life. So.
Well, you earn it. Yeah. I mean, I like that piece about, realistic. Yeah, you do face your fears, but are fears even real? It's like, it's your perception of, it's the perception of separation between you and your God self. It's just a perception.
Right.
And a lot of times I've found that my fear, the dread of facing my fear, or the dread of doing the work, or the dread of anything is way worse than actually facing it. I mean, facing it's not really that hard,
No.
But the dread is, I think what gets in the way, or the avoidance, the all the ways that we avoid ourselves. That's what you have to get through.
It's like any project. Once you start working on it, you're okay. As long as you stay away from it, then it like takes up all this space in your mind and wrecks your life. But as soon as you actually sit down and get it done, you're like, no, it wasn't that hard. I mean, maybe I had to do a lot of work, but it wasn't hard. It's not meant to be hard.
I missed the last thing.
Life's not meant to be hard.
No, I mean, some challenges, if things are challenging, you feel like you earned it more. Like us going through the Kabbalah instructor training, I mean, I really, really value that process. That was hard. It was challenging, right? I mean, it was challenging.
Absolutely. And continues to be, even though we're certified, it's like to teach is like we're always presented with our mirrors. We're always going to be presented through the students that we're working with something challenging so that we can grow.
Yeah, we're always on the edge, the constant
right.
edge.
That growing edge of whatever we need to grow into and whatever the soul of, humanity needs to grow into.
But what else is there to do,
Exactly.
What else is there to do?
I didn't come here to do something else.
Yeah. Let's push it to the limits. This is a warrior path, even if you're not on the ritual master path yet. Kabbalah is for warriors, I believe. I think that very strong people are drawn to Kabbalah and very strong people complete it.
Absolutely. Totally agree. What tips would you like to share with people about authenticity? Like mystery school and just life tips?
Well, one thing, I was talking to somebody recently and I did realize that everybody didn't have this skill. And so I wanted to go into this one, is don't do anything you don't want to do ever, unless it's for service.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a conversation with anybody unless I want to. I don't go to an event unless I want to. I don't do anything I don't want to do. And that way I'm authentic. Like I'm not just sitting there going, God, I wish I wasn't talking to this person. That's not very kind, is it?
No.
I don't
want to them, not to us.
What'd you say?
Not to them and not to us either.
I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me.
Right.
And so I do the golden rule. Like I will, if I'm with you, I want to be with you.
Right.
If I'm sitting with you, if I need to go, and if I feel like I need to do something else, I will remove myself. It has nothing to do with the person. It's just exactly what I want to do. So it's that I didn't realize people didn't know how to do that. I hear people doing things they don't want to do and then complaining about it. I gotta go do this with that person. And I'm like, whoa, like that's not actually very kind. Like, why don't you just say that you don't want to do it, or just don't do it? So that's one thing that I noticed that people don't do that I have a skill at. So that's one thing. And then another thing is just to me, integrity and honesty is very important. So it leads me to be very authentic. And that's the number one. I get that feedback that I'm authentic. I guess, and I don't really have a filter, but I can put it on if I need to for like professional things, or like if I need to be, professional or something like that. I can do it, or polite. I can do it. But for the most part, everything I say is exactly what I mean. I mean what I say what I mean. And this is something people can do. I think everybody could do. You just have to value it. I think the key is you have to value honesty and integrity over everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good thing to value. I think it's or freedom too. Freedom goes in with it, with not doing anything you don't want to do unless it's for service.
Mm-hmm. I
don't know if that's helpful or new or.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that growth for what we can become is, I think for a lot of people, even when they find the school, again, I was teaching Empower Thyself, the Adept Initiation program this weekend, and I think even when people get initiated and they find the school, it's hard to believe at first that they can transform. It's hard to believe that, what sounds so simple when you're saying it around, just don't do anything you don't want to do. It's like a lot of people might raise their hand and say, sorry, that sounds great, but you don't realize who I have in my life.
Yeah.
I have this obligation. I have that obligation. I have this person. I have my mother-in-law. I have my elderly parents, or I have my kids. I can't just not do something that I don't want to do. So what would you say to those people when they're trying to have authentic spiritual growth and they're trying to authentically be themselves?
Well, first figure out if that's service. I mean, or sometimes if you're a parent, there's certain obligations that came with that choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I would figure there's a lot of things that I do that I don't want to do, because of service. But then they end up being fun after that.
But you're doing service.
If I'm doing service, sometimes, what was the question?
I'm just adding to your words. You're saying there's a lot of things that you do that you don't want to do, but you're doing them like what you were saying earlier. You're doing it for service.
Yeah. And then then it feels really good afterwards anyway. But for those people, it sounds like, yeah, this is a common problem that we come across, Jordan, what you're mentioning is the kind of ties of what people expect from you, from your personality. So they've created, it sounds like these people, you know, that I work with people too. They've created a mask of how to survive through the world. And this mask has given them some likable qualities, maybe like being a people pleaser, something like that. And so without this mask, what do those relationships mean? Like they're based on the fact that this person is in a survival mode that might be outdated, that they're now a people pleaser. They do things that they don't want to do, but they're kind of resentful about it. So it's like a kind of a passive aggressive thing. Like, oh, I'm going to do this because I want to be liked or loved, but now I'm really pissed off. And that's going to come out at some point anyway. But like the people that have been attracted to them because of the people pleaser, they're not going to like it when they change that, right? Like, so they're deal with the normal growth things that we all had to go through to get back to ourselves, like, which is like everything. I mean, it's valuable. You have to deal with the backlash of people not liking that and then holding your boundary up here. And then you see who falls away. Some people aren't going to be able to hang with that. Good for both of you, right? It's authentic. They don't want to be around you anyway. So good. And then, or they're like, you know what? I really want to grow with this person. They come up. And then, so it's uncomfortable, but hey, it's more uncomfortable to kind of just be a masked person, just living through life based on survival techniques that you got when you were 7, you know, to survive Christmas or whatever. You're not in Christmas anymore. You're not at your parents' house. You're an adult. So be free. Like you owe it to yourself. Like it's you and you, like you're the one who's going to be with you the rest of your life. It's the ultimate thing that you need to invest in. And there are rewards along the way. Yes, it's not easy, but living a lie is worse, way worse. Yeah, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's too painful after a certain point. I mean, you get to decide when the pain point shifts into, oh, it's worth it now. But, you know, as Mystery School Guides, part of our job is to say, hey, you could shift that sooner if you want. Like maybe it doesn't have to be so painful. Maybe it could be easier. Would you like to have more joy? You could have more joy. It's possible. So, but that literally is like our job as Mystery School Guides, is to just hold that out there as an option and say you don't have to stay in those difficult situations quite so long, quite so hard. You don't have to stay double down in that, in those kind of impossible to navigate relationships that are like a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, it's not like we haven't been there ourselves, you know, like we're not asking people to go on a journey that we haven't yet traversed.
Right.
A lot of compassion.
Yeah.
A lot of compassion.
And that's really important to remember. It's like every time you work with a guide in the mystery school, you know, one of the reasons that you're working with them as a guide or as a Kabbalah teacher or as a ritual master teacher is that like they've been there. They've worked on that thing. And so they can relate to you.
Yeah. And gotten success.
Exactly. They've overcome that difficulty, whatever it is. And they're standing on the other side being like, it wasn't really so hard because of these tools. Like I was actually able to get there because of these tools. Whereas I didn't think I was going to get to this place before I found the mystery school. I didn't even really imagine a life like this existed where I could be this free. And that was like not even in a dream or in a fantasy of anything did I think that I could just be myself. Have zero excuses. I don't have any excuses for things in my life. It's like if something is the way it is, I created it that way. If I want it to be different, I'm going to change it. Bottom line, end of story, done. I don't blame you for it. I don't blame my parents for it. I don't blame the weather or the moon or Mercury or, you know, a teacher or an ex-lover or anything. I made this life. I'm going to change it if I want to. Otherwise, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to be here enjoying it.
I love what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very empowering. I mean, to take responsibility for your life and own it, because it really is your responsibility, even if you kind of make believe it isn't. It's still yours, like you could just blame people. And I mean, I know there's a secondary gain in there. Hey, I've been there. There's still like a little tiny bit of me that's still there, but like, because you get something, you get like a little some sort of a hormone, or I don't know, some sort of drop for a second that feels good. It's not going to make your life change any different, but it's true. We have the power within us, and the tools are really, really good, and
absolutely
use them every day.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, we're almost at the end of our time here. I wanted to ask you, and just totally authentically being yourself, where do you see humanity going in the next like 10, 20, 30 years? Like, what do you feel like some of humanity's next steps are as a collective consciousness?
I really hope and dream, I'll just say it from my hope and dream, is that we start to do what we're talking about, is take responsibility for our world, for our inner world. Remember that we are actually all gods and goddesses, divine gods and goddesses, that we are royal beings, that we are gods on earth, and we have our crown on, and we take responsibility for for our. Sorry, I went out. I think my thing went out, but here I'm back. Take responsibility for things.
You were saying.
It's happened a couple of times, but that's okay. But yeah, that's what I really like. I mean, that's what our goal is, isn't it? I mean, so, maybe that's going to change like the way we live, and like, we'll probably live in like cool, I would love us to live in like cool, like sacred geometry shaped houses. Like I want one, I'm tired of like living right angles. Let's talk practical, and I would really like, hey, this is me being authentic. I would really like the magical beings to be able to come back and feel safe. Like we teach that there's dragons, there's elves and fairies, there's mermaids, and we can't see them. And I'm bummed. Like, I would really like to share the world with those beings. I would love to be able to talk to them. I would like my telepathy and everybody else's telepathy to get better, so that we can just, have it with other people that are telepathic. But if everybody's not telepathic, it doesn't work. Only works. The phone works only if both people can use it. I would love that. I would love to talk to animals myself. That's always been a dream of mine. And, what else? I mean, peace on earth. I would like us to choose good, because the reason I used to do this work because of animals, because I cared about animals. Then I was worried about children with the child trafficking and things like that. I won't go into that. And then now I realized this is a deeper teaching, but we're eternal beings. We have eternity ahead of us. And I want eternity to be even better. And so if we all choose good on earth, then the rest, our eternity actually gets better. And so I'm also aware that we're here for 80 to 100 years, and then we go into eternity. So if we can figure it out here, then we can earn a better eternity. So that's actually, as soon as I figured that out, I got jobs left and right. I was like teaching all over the country. And so my why got a little bit elevated, and so did I. So I just wanted to share that too, just for the few people who might be able to follow that.
We are eternal, and like this is eternity now. And so if we're working on eternity and we're considering that, we're working on now. We're living right now in the physical, and eternity's happening. We're maybe a little bit removed from the concept of it because we have these physical senses, but it's no less real just because we can't see eternity directly. And one day after we die physically, eventually we will be just living in eternity directly. And living in eternity seems to be so far away, but it's really, really close. It's really here. So when we consider that and we live as an eternal being, then anything's possible. Then all the magic can happen. Yeah.
If we can figure it out now, it's like if we can figure it out in the density of Earth, it's going to be awesome. Like that's my goal. Like that's the goal. Like figure out who we are. We're God. Stop punching yourself. Like when you're judging another person, you're punching yourself. Like you're you're basically judging yourself. Like, so if we figure that out, that we're one here, then it's going to be like, I mean, why do you think all the Galactic Federation and everybody's watching Earth all the time? I mean, it's the hottest ticket in the universe. It's like getting a front row seat if the Beatles were still alive or something like that. I mean, everybody's watching us. Like, are they going to, like Christ taught us, Christ taught us 2,000 years ago to forgive and love people. It's like, we haven't gotten it yet. So I think we need to figure it out now and pass that test. And then eternity is going to be a lot better.
That'd be great.
Right?
I think we can do that in like 20, 30 years. I think we can pass some of that test and have a lot more eternity in the next 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always more to go, but I mean, I have a lot of faith in humans waking up so fast now. People are waking up so fast.
Oh my gosh. Like the people who come in during lockdown COVID are the most warrior people that they're just like, they can't get enough. They get a taste of the mystery school and they're like, oh my God, like you can't give them enough content because people know, like, I don't know, maybe this situation that we've been through has helped people see what's true. Like, it's almost like their psychic abilities are like, that's good. That feels good. I'm going with that. Like,
I think so too.
And they're just like, I'm signing up for everything. I honestly cannot keep the content up fast enough for them. You know, there's not enough events or classes or anything or healings for people. So yeah, I mean, people are waking up. Yeah. Thank God. Thank Goddess. Thank God. Thank Elohim. But are we almost?
We're done. Yeah, we're past our time. So thank you so much.
It's all about me. Yeah.
It's all about us. We're both talking, and it's been a pleasure. I'm really grateful that you could come on and that we could talk about all these things, and I had a lot of fun. So maybe we'll do this again sometime soon.
It can be fun, you know. Life. This whole thing is supposed to be fun. Like, we came down here, we're God. Like, it's not supposed to be a nightmare like it has been for so many. I mean, I'm a little tender because I've been working with some people and myself, you know, a little tender about what I've seen people go through. I think that's one of the reasons I've been a little tired lately. Yeah. But it can be fun. I mean, it's terrible what happens to some people, but you can dig yourself out of it and make it a playground.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing, Erin.
Good to
Thank
see you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, for being on. Love you a lot. All of our viewers, love you guys too. Thanks for watching, tuning in. Join us next week, and we'll have more amazing shows. In 2 weeks, we have one of the heads of the mystery school, Miss Dave, is going to be coming on the show 2 weeks from today and talking about how to be a warrior in these weird times that we live in.
Oh,
so
definitely watch that.
Sure.
That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I want to watch that.
Have a great night, everyone.